Thank you so much for coming out tonight and coming out to our special presentation. My name is Callie McKee. I'm the director of the U of M Educational Theater Company, and we're so excited to be able to perform at the Depression Center again this year. A little bit about UMETC. UMETC is a program of the Office of New Student Programs, and we work with student actors or current students from all over the university, all different majors. You'll get to meet them in a little while. We want to thank the Depression Center so much for inviting us back to the Depression Conference today. Especially we want to thank Trish and Stephanie, who've been working with us for the past 3 years, and we've really enjoyed our relationship and felt like we've got to do a lot of great work around the campus because in your faith in educational theater, we really appreciate it. We love working with the Depression Center, as you can tell. Not because depression and mental health are necessarily like our favorite things to talk about all the time, but because when we're working on a script for the Depression Center, we love the chance to hear stories from around the community, and we love the opportunity to learn about each other. We also love exploring how to use performance to explore all the complexities of a topic like mental health. This year, the folks at the Depression Center asked us to explore the theme of resiliency and positive mental health, as I'm sure you've seen throughout the conference. When we were working on the show, we were incorporating voices of students from all around campus, but we also had a lot of conversations about this topic in rehearsals. And very interestingly, a lot of the same themes kept coming up, and they went something like this. Well, it's like when I come to UMETC rehearsals and we do that thing, or, you know that thing we do at UMETC rehearsals? It's kind of like that helps. So practicing resiliency, we thought, hey, we practice, we rehearse, and practicing is just like rehearsing, right? So these conversations led to other conversations, but it did seem that a lot of what we were talking about came back to this idea of the stuff we were already doing on stage. So using one of our resiliency strategies, we're going to start where we are, start today. We're going to start where we're at. So we're going to start with what is. And what is one of our rehearsals. We're going to tell our stories and the stories of others in our community by showing you what we do. And what we do is move together, play together, create together, act silly, we dance, we create, we sing, we try things out, we dance some more, and we practice, and we practice, and we practice. So in order to show you all this, the first thing I need to do is introduce you to our players. This is Skylar. She's studying Spanish and pre-med. On her way to rehearsal today, she's stressing out about her physics exam and financial aid for next semester. She's hoping ETC will help her relax and breathe. This is Alex. Alex is studying communication and community action. On his way to rehearsal today, he is obsessing over what he is going to wear to the Hunger Games midnight premiere. He is hoping that ETC will give him even more permission to act silly. This is Jessica J. Robb. She's studying psychology, and on her way here, she's stressing about some papers and exams she has coming up. She's hoping ETC will just give her a break from all of that. This is Stevert. Steve's a sports management guy. He's thinking about his 4 jobs and school and the 100+ unread emails that are sitting in his inbox that he still has to deal with. He's hoping ETC will give him a chance to just think creatively. This is Sarah. She says Happy International Women's Day because she is a women's studies major. She's stressing about everything she has to do before graduation and everything she has to do after graduation. She's hoping ETC rehearsal will help her feel less self-conscious and more kid-like. This is Richard. Richard's studying music and psych. He's also in the marching band. Richard is walking to rehearsal thinking about how he's going to balance everything that he has going on today. He's hoping ETC will give him a chance to leave his stressors behind just a little bit. And last but not least, this is Manan. He's an atmospheric, oceanic, and space sciences engineering student. He's stressed out about that. He also would like me to let you know that he's a Slytherin for anyone who's interested. He's hoping ETC will let him let his inner goofy out. And this is Erica. She's our stage manager. Hi there. She makes sure we have everything we need. She keeps us on track. She's our sounding board. she also makes all the tech stuff kind of happen. We don't start until she says so. She calls the cues. So we start today at the beginning, getting here, warming up. Scene 1, the warm-up.
Sound cue 1, go.
Il semble que quelqu'un ait convoqué l'espoir. Les rues sont des jardins, je danse sur les trottoirs. Il semble que mes bras soient devenus des ailes et que chaque instant qui vole, je puisse toucher le ciel. Qu'à chaque instant qui passe, je puisse manger le ciel. Les cloches sont penchées, les arbres des hommes. Ils croulent sous les fleurs au plus haut de l'automne.
This is the hardest part for me.
Standing still.
Not checking my phone.
On Facebook?
My watch.
Not being ruled by my head cold.
By that itch in the middle of my back.
By that stupid song stuck in my head.
A silly little rhyme to help me pass the time.
Try and let go of everything that happened today.
And everything I still have to do.
With miles to go before I sleep.
Picturing writing everything from my day on little scraps of paper. Scribbling my to-do lists on leaves scattered on the ground.
Picturing gathering them together and throwing them into the air.
Setting them afloat down a river.
And watching them curl and disappear in a fire.
Watching them melt on a hot summer sidewalk.
This is the hottest part for me. Practicing.
Letting go.
Practicing.
Being here.
Practicing.
Being present.
Right here, right now. Practicing.
This is what is.
Not what was, might have been, should have been.
Not what I want it to be, planned it to be, hoped it would be.
Just what it is.
Breathe deep. Enjoy the moment.
We call it
Living in the world of the play.
Living living in the moment.
Now, time to fire the judge. This is the hardest part for me.
The judge. My judge.
Thinking about that thing, those things that hold you back.
My judge.
Thinking about those things that keep you from being the thing you want to be today.
Telling me I'm not smart enough?
Good looking enough.
Brave enough.
Creative enough.
Talented enough?
Not doing enough?
Enough.
That thing that tells me I look stupid when I let go.
That tries to make me blend in.
That tries to keep me from moving.
That makes me care about what everyone else thinks.
That drowns me in what ifs.
Give that judge a shape, a color, a figure, a voice. My judge looks like me. Hi, Sarah. Only she's taller.
What size are those jeans?
She's skinnier
They
and
look a little
athletic.
tight.
She has a smaller
Has he
nose.
called you back
She
yet?
has whiter teeth and longer
Have you
legs.
done your homework
She's
yet?
smarter than
You
me.
need this 4.0.
She's more talented
Nobody's
than me. She's more
listening.
organized.
Nobody
she never makes
cares.
mistakes.
They all hate
She's
you.
perfect.
Better luck next time, Sarah.
My judge is it's a gigantic, grunting tree. It's aged and ugly and deformed, and its dead branches reaching out to me, binding me in its darkness as I'm crouched alone in its shadow. I'm too afraid to look, but I can sense and smell its presence. I hear it whispering to me.
Go to sleep.
Sleep.
Don't brush. Don't shave. Don't comb your hair. Do not dress nicely. Stay in the dark.
It's terrifying, but at the same time, so strangely comforting. I want to reach right beyond its branches where there's a light switch, but something about its presence feels safe and quiet.
My judge looks like a million tiny insects, all of them with the voices and faces of my peers. Individually, they look like the average student, but when they move together, they form something much bigger. They move with the cunning quickness of social unrust, and they explode from the ground with every strong, confident step I take. Their voices whispering to me that I don't deserve to be here, that my skin is a bit too dark. They crawl all over me and begin to blind me from reality. They make me lose sight of the excellent student I am, how hard I work. And they start to make me question, do I even deserve to be here? Do I belong here? They make me think that I represent all the negative stereotypes within the black community. And this plagues me every class I walk into, every test that I take, and every new group I encounter.
Because you stole this education from someone else. Look at your friends back at home. They're smarter than you and they didn't get in.
Every time I try to shake these judges, they cling on and crawl into my head.
No one expects anything of you.
My judges, they make me itch. Make it so I don't feel comfortable in my own skin.
My judge looks like a smooth-talking politician with a condescending twinkle in his eye. They're not listening. They don't care. He moves like a snake. I know you, Alex. Confidently speaking half-truths, playing on my insecurities. Stand straighter. Speak louder. Fix your hair. Everyone is watching! Always just a step behind me, correcting me, feeding me lines. I'm not good enough. I'm not intelligent enough. I'm not anything. The worst part is, he's inconspicuous. He blends in. He tricks me into thinking that we are one.
My judge is a part of my life.
I know there's nothing I can do to make my judges go away forever.
My judge changes and morphs and travels with me.
But there is something I can do about my judge right now.
I can look at my judge and say, I see you.
I see you. I can name all those negatives and say, I know what you're trying to do to me.
I know you.
And I can decide that for just this moment, you have no power here.
You are
Aren't welcome.
You're fired.
You're fired.
You're fired.
You're fired.
1, 2, 3.
You're fired.
The judge is gone.
Hooray.
Good. Now we can start rehearsal. Spread out. Let's stretch up. Stretch down. Stretch up. Nice big exhale. Stretch down. Swing around. Slowly roll up. Cantaloupe. Raise it. Cantaloupe. Raise it. Raise it. Cantaloupe. Ooh, I feel so good, like I knew I would. Ooh, I feel so good. All right, guys, you know this game. Here we go. Here we go. Ooh, I feel so good, like what? I knew I would. Ooh, I feel so good. Let's dance around now. Ooh, I feel so good, like I knew I would. Ooh, I feel so good. For the back row. Ooh, I feel so good, like I knew I would. Ooh, I feel so good. You're made of jello. Ooh, I feel so good, like I knew I would. Ooh, I feel so good. Just aced your finals. Ooh, I feel so good, like I knew I would. Ooh, I feel so good. The law library. Ooh, I feel so good, like I knew I would. Ooh,
I love this stuff. We start rehearsals like this every time. I love the idea of warming up in order to play, to pretend. For some reason, here it makes sense. Sometimes I wonder what would happen if I started my days like this every day. Would acting like a cantaloupe help me deal with those days that depression hangs on me like a wet blanket? Maybe. Would the act of warming up help me tackle those days that overwhelm me before I even get out of bed? This stuff, this shaking around and breathing and firing of imaginary demons, well, at least it gives the time, the space to acknowledge my discomfort, to vocalize what I'm thinking. It helps me physically and emotionally and mentally prepare for feeling free, feeling silly, feeling like, okay, so I came in kind of feeling like crap today, but I can do this. It made me think about how we begin our days. I think we have this overwhelming expectation that we're supposed to wake up in the morning, sometimes after way too little sleep, jump up and get to all that stuff we have to do in the day. We're supposed to hit the ground running and tackle anything that gets in our way. And then we get really mad at ourselves when we can't quite handle it, when our brains aren't quite with it enough to deal with everything that comes at us. At least I do. I get really mad at myself. But then I look at this and I see here we are, warming up in order to play. We warm up in order to let go. So why should I expect myself to be able to handle everything in my day straight out of bed? I mean, I don't even go for a run before I stretch out. Maybe my brain, well, maybe it needs a little bit of a warm up too.
let's bring it home now.
Ooh, I feel so good, like I knew I would. Ooh, I feel so good.
Woo! Nice job, guys. Good, grab a drink of water, your script's over there, and let's run that piece with the blocks, okay?
Good morning.
Hey, sorry.
You doing okay?
Yeah, I guess.
Wow, that was super convincing.
Well, it's not that I'm doing bad, I'm just doing a lot. I'm having a hard time keeping it all in the air.
You are doing a lot. Maybe it's too much.
But I'm the queen of too much. I'm a multitasker. I've always been good at,
You know, juggling?
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. I've been there.
Scene 2, the part about balance.
So, this is what it was like for me a couple of years ago. This is what it was like in my high school. I worked hard, I studied hard, I lived in the same place my entire life. I had a base. I felt grounded. I had a foundation, so I was ready to tackle things. I had my favorite coffee shop that I used to hang out and do homework in.
The usual, Steve?
Hey, Skyler. Yeah, the usual.
Great, 1 large, no whip, extra hot, double soy, dirty chai latte. Coming right on up.
Awesome. I knew how to get around.
Hey, Steve, do you need me to look up the address for that concert?
No, it's next to where Coldplay had their concert last year. I'll drive.
Oh, great, man, thanks.
I had a cool after-school job and a reputation for being a really good employee.
Oh, thank goodness you're here, Steve. You never lose your cool during dinner rush. We have a party of 10 coming in 5 minutes.
No problem. And I knew what it took to thrive academically, too. I figured out what I needed to study, what I did not, and I pretty much knew what to expect in all of my classes.
I can't believe you're doing basketball, student council, and debate team this semester.
I've had all of these teachers before. It'll be no sweat. So I know what you're thinking. It's not that simple, right? Well, I felt strong. I had my foundation, so I was ready for things when they came my way. And whenever I felt a little overwhelmed,
Steve, we need you.
I have my support system ready to go. My family.
Coming, Steve.
Thanks, sis.
No problem.
My friends I had known since middle school.
We got you, buddy.
And of course, my favorite teacher that I had got to know really, really well.
Glad to help anytime, Steve.
So when things got stressful, I felt like I could handle it. Then, I came to U of M. I was so excited because I'd wanted to go to U of M for as long as I could remember, and I was finally going to be there. So I packed up and moved to Ann Arbor.
Hail to the victors valiant, hail to the conquering heroes.
I mean, sure, it was a big adjustment, moving to a new state, living on my own, starting my college career, but you know, I had always been able to handle things when they came my way. But then, something started happening.
Steve, did you do the readings for world religion yet?
I did some of the readings.
Some. We have to read 3 chapters, plus 2 articles from C-Tools, and don't forget about the readings for biology, abnormal psych, and anthro.
But it's the first week of classes.
Steve, where are you? The rest of the group is at the MLB. We're moving, though. Look first in the lobby of the BSRB, or in the SAB, or in the UGLY. Oh, and Terry wants to know if you want to go to a UMS presentation at the Odd and Mudo. Or, it's at UMass, sorry. You get tickets at Mudo.
It's like you're speaking English and yet.
Whatevs, just get here ASAP.
Pretty soon, I just started to feel unbalanced. And, well, not only did I have all this new stuff to deal with, but my foundation was quickly falling away, and my support.
Steve, we know you can do it!
Well, they were trying, but they just felt so far away, and, well, the more I clung onto the familiar things, the more unbalanced I felt, and the really small things started to feel like really big things.
Sorry, dude, this is Starbucks. We don't know what your usual is. Now move on so people who know how to order coffee can go.
Just want a cup of coffee.
Steve, you were supposed to be at rehearsal last night. You totally flaked out.
No, I got really smart.
Look, I'm sorry, we have about 50 applications. We need someone with better availability.
Hey man, you look really stressed. You should see a therapist or something.
Time to
What are you thinking,
Steve!
Ah! I quit! Okay. I didn't quit, even though I felt like I really, really wanted to. But what I did do is stop, breathe, and give myself permission to take some time. I stopped holding on to all those familiar things because, well, holding on to things that are familiar made everything else seem unfamiliar. So I started over, again, and this time I knew I couldn't do it alone. Maybe instead of worrying about my foundation, this time I started with the supports. So I started going to those class study groups. I was talking with my professors and graduate student instructors. I even joined a mentorship program. I started making use of all the resources on campus like Counseling on Psychological Services, or CAPS, and the Student Involvement Office, which got me hooked up with the Ultimate Frisbee Club. Now things are better. Not perfect, believe me. But once I stopped beating myself up for not being able to take care of business or handle it on my own and ask for help, I felt a lot more prepared to deal with stuff. So now whenever I catch myself getting into a balancing act, I just try to remember. Stop, breathe, ask for help, and trust that all the pieces will come together eventually.
Nice, Steve. Good job. Nice work. Yeah, I like it. So, Grace, let's help Erica get the rest of the block. Okay? Thanks.
That's really good stuff, Steve. I guess I'm just having a hard time trusting that I won't fall down.
Excuse me.
Excellent timing.
Hey, I never promised you weren't gonna fall.
Oh, you're super helpful. Maybe it's not about if you fall or not. Maybe it's about the journey towards balance.
Show off.
Journey towards balance.
Balance is not that everything has a place or that every emotion has a reason. It's between here and there with a little of nowhere in between. Relying on myself, my strength, but depending on a strong wall when I know that I can't stand on my own. Knowing me, who I am, and what I believe. Comfort, chaos, balance.
That was brilliant.
Thank you.
Isn't she like a freshman?
Yeah, annoying, isn't it?
All I'm saying is that maybe sometimes the thing that makes things better is the act of learning to balance, not the end result. Like my father used to always say, it's about the journey, Jessica, not the destination.
I agree. Now, help me get these blocks out of here, please.
C3, tightrope, a monologue by Minan Kocher.
I'm Otto. I'm an international student, and I'm gay. But I'm not just any gay, I'm a pretty good gay. I talk and write about my experiences, I volunteer at the Spectrum Center, I rally and march, I sit on committees, and I have more rainbow gear than anyone else I know. Looking at me, you would think I have no care in the world, that being a gay man of color is an identity I wear with so much pride that it would never affect my mental health. What you don't see is that while I'm doing all this celebrating and dancing, I can barely breathe. That while I'm doing all this marching and educating, I'm doing so on a terribly thin tightrope. My parents hate me for what I am, but I couldn't live if I didn't stay true to myself. But they hate me. So here I am, up on this tightrope. I'm 20 kilometers off the ground, where the air is so cold that it traumatizes every vein. It's like I'm up here all alone, screaming at the top of my lungs, looking for someone to throw me a lifeline, but that person does not exist. I can't make my family not hate me, and I can't pretend to be someone I'm not. So I think, what choice do I have? I might as well get comfy on this tightrope, right? When I came to U of M, I was so happy. I could be myself. I could do anything I wanted. For a moment, I forgot what my family thought about homosexuals. But not for long. 2 summers ago, when my sister outed me in front of my parents, my world fell apart. Those fags, homos, did you think about us? Do you have a penis? Their country, their culture, that community, that's my community! There was only one place to go from there. Back in the closet. Like so deep, where it is so dark, that pierces your senses. I couldn't breathe, or feel, or speak. I was falling. My parents hated me. I was falling. I was weak, anorexic, and crazy. I was crazy. Looking back now, I wonder how I ever felt to feeling okay again. The truth is, I am feeling okay. But it's not because the circumstances have changed. My parents would still hate me if they thought I was really gay, and they would give me pain and try to fix my identity, but they would never leave me or throw me away. They're my family. And in my culture, a family is a clenched fist that stays together no matter what. No matter what. I could choose to hate them or curse them, but that wouldn't help me feel balanced, or that wouldn't make my breathing easier. For better and for worse, they're my family, and that clenched fist is something I know I need in my life. So what can I do? I can't change them, so I will be a success in every way I can. I will work hard to fulfill all that they've dreamt for me for the past 22 years. Then maybe, just maybe, they will see me for more than a sexual outcast. And maybe they won't. But as I stand up here on this tightrope, my muscles are getting stronger. I'm in tune with my sense of balance, and my lungs have learned to adapt when the air gets thin. And of course it's hard, sometimes more than others, but for me, it's no more about the pain, it's about how I deal with it. And it makes me who I am. A stronger, more confident and proud human being. I have found meaning in my suffering. I've given it a name. And in it, I have found my power. I know who I am. And a rather skilled tightrope walker, converting my struggles into my strengths.
Yeah, I would like that monologue went on, but it makes me sad.
Me too.
But I'm not sad. Why should you be?
I don't know. I mean, you're right. There's something, sometimes we can't do anything about feeling stressed or overwhelmed or unbalanced, but it's like we just have to get used to feeling crappy.
We don't have to get used to it, but we can use it as an opportunity to think about those things that do make us feel balanced.
Yeah. This rehearsal is getting really heavy. Kelly, I think we need a game or something.
Yes, a game. Demand a game.
Okay. How about scene 4, Tilt? Tilt, a theater game.
I can afford that, yeah.
All right. In the game of Tilt, we imagine a pivot point. Thank you, Erica. And on this pivot point, we imagine a rotating disc, a record on a record player. The object of the game is to move with your partner to keep yourselves and the disc in balance.
Balance feels energetic. It's living in the moment instead of overthinking everything. Instead of getting overrun with the million possible things that could go wrong with my life, I can stop and look at it. Balance is admitting to myself that I'm happy.
Balance feels restful, not tired and depressed, but easy and at peace. It's getting everything you need to get done, but not going crazy about it either. Balance is falling asleep with a satisfied exhale. Ready?
Oh, yeah.
Balance feels comfortable. Going back and forth between campus and my parents' house makes me feel like I'm living two different lives. I feel uprooted every time I have to leave one or the other. Balance is feeling at home.
Balance feels familiar. It's looking at the road ahead and seeing my path. It's knowing what's coming and how I'm going to deal with it. Balance is me in the driver's seat with a working GPS.
Balance feels just. As a student of social justice, it's looking at the world and not only seeing what's wrong, but choosing to see what's right. There is light and there is dark, but balance isn't a dichotomy. It isn't linear, it's cyclical. Balance is the circle of life, breathing in and breathing out.
Balance feels quiet. My head underwater. The sounds are muffled and everything moves in slow motion. The world looks magical and clean. I am weightless and move with ease. Balance is knowing when to take a deep breath in and escape for a moment.
Balance feels controlled.
Whoops.
Sometimes I just have to yell, stop! Stand up and look around and just for one moment decide on a plan of action before you jump back in. Balance is reminding yourself that sometimes I can be a musician and sometimes I can be the conductor.
Admitting to myself that I am happy.
Falling asleep. Satisfied exhale.
Feeling at
Falling
home.
asleep.
That I am happy.
Me in the driver's
Satisfied exhale.
Circle of life.
Me in the driver's
Breathing in.
Head underwater.
Satisfied
Out.
Me in the driver's
Circle of life.
Feeling at
Breathing
home.
Me in
in.
the driver's
Feeling at home. Out.
Me in the driver's
Feeling at home.
Me in the driver's
I feel balanced when everybody else feels balanced.
Nicely done.
Thank you very much. I needed that.
But I see your point. Sometimes thinking about what makes things feel better helps get them more accessible, I guess, when things feel off.
Exactly, and sometimes it's good to hear other people talk about this stuff. And it makes me realize that a lot of people are doing this balancing act a lot of the time.
Yeah, hearing you guys talk about it made me see that I have more options, some ideas on strategies.
Yeah, you know, maybe it's just reminding ourselves that we aren't isolated in all this. I mean, I know when I feel depressed, all I want to do is be by myself. It's ironic.
Which I think helps, but it really just makes me feel worse.
Which makes me like being by myself even more.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like a double-edged sword. You know, I feel like I need to close myself off from the world and all of its distractions. But at the same time, I know that means I'm closing myself off from all the good connections too. It's like if I could take a snapshot of my day, it would be me plugging in, unplugging. Plugging in and unplugging.
Ooh. Image, theater, PowerPoint. Can we please?
Okay. All right, let's do it. Scene 5, Conjunction Junction, an image theater PowerPoint.
You guys know the scene. It doesn't matter if you're a student, faculty, staff, or whatever. You know the scene. On the bus. Everyone's in their own world, no one's talking to each other, and to be fair, we can't know what's going on with everybody. Maybe some people are just having a hectic day and need a minute of quiet. And maybe some people are just feeling a little bit stressed out and are listening to their favorite Feel Better song. And maybe some people are just numbing out. I get wanting to protect yourself. And I get that sometimes we feel like if we turn on the world, there won't be a way to turn it off again. You know, I think it's funny. We spend all this time talking about technology and being connected, whether it's Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Google Chat, FaceTime, LinkedIn, all these things. We get excited about making virtual connections. I had a friend who left Facebook to preserve her mental health. She was obsessed with looking at photos, status updates, and check-ins. She was struggling with depression and anxiety, but looking at Facebook, she was convinced everyone else was doing just fine. But the truth is, of course everyone looks happy on Facebook. That's where we post the happy stuff that happens in our lives. We think everyone else has it better than us, but that's not reality. For me, I could take or leave that Facebook stuff, but you will always find me with my headphones and listening to music. Music. I mean, music. Music is my escape. I study music therapy because that's what music means to me. I don't like to be interrupted when I'm in that world. And sure, depression exists sometimes in the world, but music is like a friend holding my hand, riding out the waves. It helps my head and my heart speak the same language. So no, I'm not giving up my headphones. But I know that means I do feel isolated sometimes. And I know that means that I don't allow myself to see the resources I need. So, what's the solution? Maybe it's not realistic that I won't want to disconnect into my music. But maybe it will help me remember that reaching out can feel pretty good too. Reaching out can mean I can see the help that I need in other people who are struggling too. Connecting helps me remember that part of me loving music is seeing other people loving it too.
I didn't know you were so into music, Richard.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of funny.
funny, how is that?
Well, not funny. interesting, maybe. It's like I know you all pretty well. We spend all these rehearsal hours together, and we do all this ensemble building and team building and all these get-to-know-you exercises and everything. But working on this project, talking about how we cope, how we deal, I feel like I'm learning so much more.
Yeah, it's like you know someone. Like I know all of you, but you learn so much more by not only knowing their sad self or happy self, but also how they navigate this kind of stuff. Like when they write themselves when they're feeling sad or off.
You know what? It's kind of like a more in-depth version of our get-to-know-you game.
Like a mental health icebreaker.
All right. Scene 6. To help me be all right, mental health icebreaker to the tune of Little Sally Walker. All right, J-Rob. J-Rob, we got you guys started off. You really? You can do this, J-Rob.
UMetc, lost its inner light. Tell us what you do to help you feel alright. UMetc, lost its inner light. This is what we do to help us feel alright. Hey, it's our friend Alex, lost his inner light. Tell us what you do to help you feel alright.
I pretend I'm Beyonce. I Facebook stalk myself. I watch bad reality TV and think to myself, at least you're not on Teen Mom 2. I remind myself of all the things I've accomplished. I listen to music and stare out of windows and pretend I'm in a melodramatic music video. I get on Tumblr and I talk to people about my feelings while looking at pictures of cats. And I eat. And I try to eat healthy, but I basically eat whatever I can get.
Hey, that's my resiliency strategy. That's my resiliency strategy. Switch. Hey, it's our friend Sarah, lost her inner light. Tell us what you do to help you feel alright.
I reread my favorite book over and over. I get in the shower and I sing at the top of my lungs. Sometimes I scream into my pillow. I clean my room. I organize. I play make-believe. I make lists. I cross things off lists. I make more lists. And I dance.
Hey, that's my resiliency strategy. That's my resiliency strategy. Switch. Hey, it's our friend J-Rob, lost her inner light. Tell us what you do to help you feel alright. So my boyfriend broke up with me, right? And I cried a little to help me be alright. And I cried some more. Then I wrote in my journal, I prayed to God. I even called my mom. I talked to my closest friends. I went out with my closest friends. And then I got some other boys' numbers. And that's when I was alright. Hey, that's my resiliency strategy. That's my resiliency strategy. Switch. Hey, it's our friend Steve that lost his inner light. Tell us what you do to help you feel alright.
I work out. I run even though I hate it. Running helps me to think or helps me to stop thinking. Keeping my body fit keeps my brain from feeling fat. Gives me a feeling of accomplishment. I run.
Hey, that's my resiliency strategy. That's my resiliency strategy. Hey!
I love that stuff.
I don't think I can play a game like that and feel sad. I love those little playground games.
Really? How are you at clapping games?
I'm amazing at clapping games.
OMG, J-Rob's #1 stress reliever.
No way!
Yes way! But my friends are afraid of looking stupid, so they won't do it with me.
I ain't afraid of looking stupid.
Let's look stupid together!
Okay.
I feel like we just witnessed something incredibly profound.
Yeah, we're never gonna get them to do any real work again.
I found my way through this thing. I have a splendid day. Twists and turns, ups and downs, rain and snow, smiles and frowns. May sound silly with this rhyme. All I did was some time. What you see is what you get. No more pretending, life's all set.
You guys, I love that!
Sure poem.
I know! Guys, okay. So this is another one of those I love this stuff moments. I wrote that poem, and I put it in my journal, and I brought it to rehearsal. And now it's in the show! I don't think you believe me. I'm gonna show you. Thank you, Erica. This is my journal, everybody. Look. This is the poem. I wrote it. So, this may be an extreme example, but when we talk about our resiliency strategies, I couldn't deal without my journal. It gives me a place to pour out everything from my day. Sometimes I just need to get it out of my head and let it live somewhere else. In this case, it's living out in front of a big audience of people, but hey, better than being in my head. Another good thing about the journal is that it lets me look back at those days that seemed like, oh my God, the world is ending and everything is awful. And it makes me realize that those were just bad days. I always write in my journal how I feel, and I think to myself, someday I will look back and I will remember, and I'll smile because I survived and I'm still here. Lately, I've actually been using my journal as a kind of happiness plan for myself. Inside of it, I've included stuff like the goals I have for my life and how I plan to achieve them, a list of my strengths in case I forget them, qualities that a friend should have in case I'm tempted to enter an unstable relationship, inspirational quotes, stuff like that. It's nice to have perspective, but I think I'll keep the rest of this journal to myself because as fun as it would be, there are some things that I don't think need to be turned into a musical theater dance number.
That's good stuff, Skylar.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay. What's next? Whoops.
Erica?
One sec. It says right here that we're supposed to be working on the title piece.
Right.
Yeah, wasn't there supposed to be a piece about footholds, climbing, and all of that?
Uh-huh. 1 minute.
Callie,
Uh-huh.
what are you doing? Are you writing the sketch right now?
No.
So there's this thing about finding our footholds? Really?
Sorry, it was a really crazy week. You guys, I'm sorry, I can't believe I forgot.
Relax, you didn't forget. You got overwhelmed. Remember last week you looked super stressed, and I said, hey, you look super stressed. Anything I can do?
This is sounding vaguely familiar.
And at first you're like, no, it's cool. I got this. I'm the director. I can handle anything. Wah, ha, ha.
Is that really what I sound like?
Pretty much.
Then I was like, are you sure? And you were like, well, there's this title piece thing.
Right!
Yeah, I reached out, you reached back. It was loaded with metaphor.
Excellent. So, you have...
Yeah.
Okay, great. Amazing. Scene 7, finding our footholds, monologue?
Kinda.
A kind of monologue.
I can't deal with stuff on the ground level. Ever since I was a kid. Whenever things got crazy or chaotic, I would climb. At first, it was climbing to the top of the toy box, or the coffee table, the kitchen counter. Climbing. I couldn't articulate this then, of course, but I was amazed at the new perspective that climbing gave me.
Just keep climbing. Just keep climbing.
As I got older, I became obsessed with my treehouse. It was calm, and from it, I could see over all the houses around us. I could see where things connected, fit together. I could see the grand plan. So I climbed. I climbed trees, I climbed fences, I climbed walls, I climbed rocks, and I noticed something. Even though normally I was really anxious and shy, when I was climbing, getting out of my comfort zone, I felt pumped. My anxiety was gone. Even better, long after I'd climbed down from wherever I was, the feeling stayed. The more I practiced climbing, the more confident I felt.
Higher. Higher. Higher.
When I came to college, I stopped climbing. There just didn't seem to be time for stuff like that, and my anxiety came back. But at ground level, I couldn't connect the dots. And then last year, my friend invited me to MROC, the climbing wall here. And after my first climb, I was hooked again. And I noticed something from on top of the tallest wall. The connection between my mental health, my anxiety, and climbing became clear. Climbing is my brave practice. The more I practice being brave on the climbing wall, the more I realize that if I can do it there, I can be brave in other parts of my life too. I learned strategies with climbing that help me deal with my mental health issues in the rest of my life.
Strategy 1. Don't feel like you have to tackle the biggest rock first.
Let myself have small moments of accomplishment before I try to scale something huge.
Strategy number 2. Climbing by yourself can be good, but climbing with a friend can open up new possibilities.
On the days that I have to tackle the big stuff, it's okay to ask for help.
Strategy number 3. You can't climb back down the way you came.
I can't avoid struggle and heartache by trying to back out of it. The only way out is through.
Strategy number 4. Climbing requires strong muscles and a good grip.
The more I practice dealing with my anxiety, the better I get at it. The more I build those muscles, the easier it is the next time.
Strategy number 5. You can't climb the wall all at once. You must find your footholds and take it one step at a time.
I need to find my support systems, and then I need to use them. I need to look around and see that there is a path to the top, but to get there, I also need to see the hands reaching out to help me.
Strategy number 6. Once you get there, the view from the top is amazing. Take a picture. Stay a while.
I don't always have to worry about what's coming next. We do that as college students. We always stress about the future. But sometimes I just need to stop. Look at the view and realize that where I am is pretty amazing.
Hey guys, the cheese.
Cheese!
Got it.
Aw, this was a good day, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And actually, we're at time.
No!
Yeah, sorry. Scene 8, the wrap up.
So that's it, the end of our rehearsal. It's time to leave dark auditoriums and go outside and play. Of course, there will be more rehearsals and there will be more shows, and that's how this whole thing comes full circle. Practicing resiliency and mental health is just that, practicing, rehearsing. It's never perfect, and it shifts and changes every day. We can't promise when it's time to prove our plans for being mentally healthy, when it's showtime, that the show won't be different than the day before. We can't promise that we'll always wear the same costumes or that the lights and sets and props will all look the way that they're supposed to, but we can promise to show up for rehearsal. And we can promise that when we've completed one challenge, when the show is over, that we can feel proud of what we've accomplished and ask for a bit of applause.
It seems like these were working. Can you hear us? So, I'm John Graydon. I'm the director of the Depression Center. Todd Sevig is the director of CAPS. And Daniel, who's been a hero all day, basically. Everybody's been walking around talking about him in every session I've been at. Daniel Eisenberg is an investigator and a faculty member in the School of Public Health, and we're all part of this operation, and we sort of co-chaired the planning committee. And I have to, before going any further, because we want to ask you a few things, I just have to tell you that as I was watching this whole last part, what was flashing through my head is the fact that You can't hear. Okay. The Depression Center, along with many other parts of the University of Michigan health system, recently went through a computer change. And instead of having people come in and gather in the front desk for 12 seconds for their appointment and then go sit down, the line was backed up and it was out to the door and people were frustrated and irritable, and I wish all of you could have been in the lobby of the Depression Center doing this this last skit. It would have been good therapy for everyone. And then the only other thing that I can think of is with regard to the journal, Renee tries to get me periodically to go down and clean out our basement. I get started, a few things happen, and then I stumble into some of those things that I wrote from years ago. And pretty soon I'm reading and I'm learning. And I think there were many, many messages in this last presentation. And I would like you to join me in just thanking the Educational Theater Company once more. And then before doing anything, really, there's nothing more important, and the next step is to thank all of you. There are people who we knew had to leave and depart and go back to catch planes in some circumstances. But this has been, I think, a very valuable 2 days. For some of the people, prior to even when this started, Daniel Eisenberg had a separate meeting, a research meeting, in which there was planning for the future. How can we do better? And one part of doing better is generating new knowledge and translating it. And that's what those themes were, and everybody in attendance conveyed it was extremely valuable. Another part of doing better is learning from you what we should do and what we should do next year, for example, and how we should stay timely, but not superficial. How we should address important topics. What else can we do that would be take-home messages for you? What can you take back to campuses or to your homes or wherever? And so think about that and think about how we can structure the meeting. And then I think at some point there's one more person that I want to thank, but I'm going to pass this on to Todd and then to Daniel, and then we can all go home.
Thanks, John. I just real quickly wanted to add my thanks and appreciation to all of us, to the planning committee. You know, whether we're going to go home a minute away or many miles away, I guess I'm just struck by what was in one of the skits around the journey. And this has been a wonderful journey. The conference in and of itself, which has been 10 years, did start from the vision of John and brought along all kinds of people. And the strength for me has always been this interdisciplinary, the different roles we have. Mental health professionals, advisors, faculty, students, parents, siblings, actually. And I think we've been tested over the years, but we have persevered with this multi-focus, multicultural, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and just really wanted to add my voice into the value of that. It's very easy to be caught up in the moment here, and then the minute we get on the road, we get back into old ways of thinking. And I think we have really wanted to push. That's right. And we check the emails and everything. And we really want to push that and share, I guess, what the value that we've seen, and really invite all of you to do that. The only other thing I wanted to say about the journey is it's wonderful to stop at a rest stop and take a break. Thank you all for that. And to celebrate, gee, we're halfway there, and to take that in. So wonderful, and I hope we do this 10 more years.
Well, this whole conference has felt like one big mental health intervention. And we talked a lot about how strengths within us, qualities within us promote positive mental health, but I think this conference for me reminded me that it's people and organizations and groups that are doing wonderful things, wonderfully talented, brilliant things like this performance and the student award winners and so forth. That brings me mental health, and that will keep me going when I'm slogging on my computer doing research, and hopefully will have benefits for other people in other ways. And we have one last very important thank you, which John is going to do.
And this will be done over protest, but I think it's important. The person who has been the glue for all of this, and I don't even know that she's in the room, is Trish Meyer, who coordinates, and please thank her. Travel safely. 10 years is, I think, a very short period of time when you put it into the context of the problem that we face and those that we still need to face. And we need you to be in a team that takes on these issues in future years. We are going to win these fights with better cures, reduction of stigma, a vision that we could answer what would we really all like. And I know it's different than what we have today, so stay with the fight. Thank you so much.